So, welcome to today's video at how to mix volcano red, or better said, not how to mix volcano red, because this is the other single pigment color that you will find in the whole supergranulating range from Schmincke. We have the volcano yellow and the volcano red, which is a cadmium red, PR108, which is a very common pigment that you find in many brands. But the big difference is that most cadmium reds barely granulate. With the most ones, you really would need a magnifying glass or look really closely to see any kind of granulation. So therefore, the Schmincke Volcano Red is very unique because this is a version that granulates very strongly and therefore is completely different to all the other brands. I will swatch a few cadmium reds in comparison so that you can see the big difference in how strong the granulation is, but also the color shade, because cadmium red is a pigment that can make various different kinds of red. We have the probably most commonly version, I call it in German, I would call it fire truck red, which is the cadmium red light, that is also the cadmium red that is the color shade that is in most cases used when you are doing a cadmium red hue. The pigment that is mostly all the time used to make the hues is the Pyro Red PR 255. I think I never seen a cadmium red hue that does use other pigments or other shades of cadmium red. It is probably in really most cases this fire truck red or cadmium red light. Then we have, of course, versions that are called cadmium red medium or cadmium red dark. But we also have versions that are called cadmium red purple or violet, because we do have this very light red, but it can also make very dark reds that tends more towards a violet, like we see with, for example, red iron oxide. If you're looking at Caput Mortem or Indian red, for example, there are also very dark red colors that have a very strong violet undertone. And cadmium red does this as well, but cadmium violet or purples are definitely the versions that you will see the least. There are not so many brands offering these violetish versions than any other kind of cadmium red. It is a toxic pigment and it is an expensive pigment, so you won't find it, for example, in student grade paints. And there are a few brands that you will, when you are buying pre-made pan sets or tube sets, that use a lot of cadmium yellow or reds, for example, as a standard color in their sets, like for example White Nights or Rosa Gallery. There you will find nearly in all standard sets you will find at least one cadmium red, maybe sometimes in bigger sets even more than one, like a light and a dark, but it is not a pigment that you will find standardized in all brands in sets, because, like I said, it is an expensive pigment, and therefore most brands are that are offering cadmium reds don't exactly use it in sets that are pre-made. because of the price. In pre-made sets, mostly you will find only a very few expensive pigments, and yeah, that's definitely something unique with the Rosa Gallery or White Night sets, that you always will find cadmium reds and yellows in those sets. So I do have here the cadmium red light from White Nights. As you can see, it is a very warm light red in comparison to the Schmincke one, which is more like a darker, cooler kind of red. Then I do swatch the next cadmium red would be the cadmium purple from Blocks, which is a brand from Belgium. And you will see there that the color looks very, in a wet, a very dark red, but when it's dry it is more like this violet, purplish kind of red. Like I said, those unique violetish reds are not so often offered from brands. There are a few out there, definitely, but not every brand that uses cadmium reds or offer cadmium reds offer this kind of cadmium red version. Definitely looks more reddish than violetish now, but like I said, it will change when it's dry, and we will definitely take a closer look at the dried swatches in the end of the video. So the next one I do have here is Rosa Gallery, and it's called Cadmium Red Medium. Of course, I do have tons of cadmium reds. I didn't want to swatch all of them. I just wanted to have a small amount so that you can see the other shades that the pigment can produce, but also have a comparison how big the difference is in how strong the granulation is in all those versions versus the Schmincke version. The last one we will be swatching is from Paul Rubens. I do have it in a pan set, and they call it Cadmium Red Light PR108, and I had to check that multiple times because I couldn't believe it, because it looks like a cadmium orange. It is so orange in color, and to this day I'm not sure if the pigment really can make these color shades, or if that is a big printing error and it is in reality a PO20 and cadmium orange, because Paul Rubens is the only brand I ever found this very orangey version of the pigment. So if you have more information about that, I would really love to hear that, because yeah, that's definitely something unique. I did want to add it because of that, but like I said, with a little bit of caution, because I'm not 100% sure if it's really a PR108 or if it is a printing error and it is a PO20. So yeah, that are all the different shades that the pigment can make. You can definitely see that we have a big range of different reds from light to dark, and that the Schmincke version is more settled on the cooler, darker side. The pigment can make cool and warm, and from light to dark kind of reds. So it is a very versatile pigment. And you can see that not only the colors vary, but the kind of how strong the granulation is in the others in comparison to the Schmincke version. It is so different. You barely can see the granulation in the other ones. So that is definitely something very unique with Schmincke. I don't know how they did it, if they milled the pigment less so that the particles are bigger, or if they added some granulation medium, or maybe both, or maybe something completely different. I honestly don't know. I haven't found any information about that. If you have information about that, please, please let me know. But other than that, I can only say that most granulating reds are in the earthy range. So this version from Schmincke here is very unique. And as you can see, it is even very, very unique in comparison to all of the cadmium reds we have from different brands. So if you are into granulation and into color separation, I highly recommend the Volcano Red from Schmincke, because it is so unique in color shade in comparison to other more earthy reds. So yeah, definitely. If you ask me which colors I highly recommend buying from the super granulating range, it is Volcano Red and Yellow, because they are so unique. But with the yellow, at least you could choose a different brand offering the Silicon Yellow. There you can look up which version is the cheapest where you live. But with the Volcano Red, we don't have we don't have an alternative. I did read that a few years back the Rosa Gallery did offer a more granulating version of the cadmium red, but I never tried it. So if you do own both, or if you do own at least the Rosa Gallery version and can compare it to this, please let me know how strong the granulation is. It is probably stronger than the standard, but I haven't seen any swatches of it that did show that it is nearly as strong as the Schmincke version. So therefore, I think still the Schmincke version is super unique in how strong the granulation is, and the color itself is very unique because it is not an earthy red, and nearly all other granulating reds we do own are earthy red. So that is definitely something very different, and therefore adds definitely a lot of new possibilities to what you can mix in terms of super granulating mixes. And yeah, that's definitely something I highly recommend adding to a collection, especially if you are into granulation and color separation mixes, or mixing with granulating pigments, because like I said, it is a very unique version and a very unique shade of red. So I really hope that the video was helpful and interesting, and thank you so much for watching. As always, a thumbs up or a follow is very, very appreciated, because it really helps me in the channel a lot. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and to see you soon in one of my other videos. Until then, take good care of yourself. Bye bye, and thank you so much for watching.